Hey guys, I'm on break here from my job. You'll have to excuse my hair, I was wearing a hat. But I was thinking about some things yesterday as well. And I think I want to make a video about them. Probably won't be the longest video, but we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. I'm gonna talk about something that still along the lines of what we've been talking to, just in a lower gear, from a more healing focused perspective, okay, and subconscious frame of mind. So, with the whole life lesson thing, right, that's the whole supposed idea that you're stuck in a lesson until you learn it, until you beat it, essentially, like a video game level, right? The life lesson narrative and the video game narrative seem to be very intertwined. But I was thinking, and with my own personal experiences, or from my own personal experiences and others, I've been able to sort of conclude that that's not necessarily true. 99% really, I would say, is not necessarily true. I think the point of that lesson is not that you learn it, kind of like you memorize it and you regurgitate it and you're like, oh, when this happens, I'm gonna do this. No, it's rather, it serves more as a catalyst for your consciousness to kick in, right? For your awareness to kick in, like say, oh, wait, this is a pattern I've been subconsciously repeating, and now I'm becoming conscious of it. And I don't need to beat it, I just need to remove it. Right? A lot of sages even will say that the largest part of learning is rather unlearning everything you've been programmed with, you've been taught. And if we take the presupposition that this is a programming matrix that is furthering the goal to entrap us, or keep us here, it needs to keep programming us, it needs to keep giving us that trauma, it needs to keep us stuck in those lessons, right? Because we haven't learned them, right? That's the key phrase of these ascended masters, or these guides, or ET demons, whatever they are, running this show after death, right? So what I realized is, like, okay, yes, I've become aware of the pattern, but I don't need to constantly keep testing myself in a toxic place in order to see if I've beat the pattern, or in order to see if I keep reacting the same way. Because that's not how healing really is done. Healing is, oh, I realize this is bad for me, let me stop it, let me cut it out, and fill it with my true self, not leave a void, right? Kind of like a diet where, oh, that's whatever, meat or too much meat is bad, right? But you still need protein, you still need to eat some meat, but too much meat, only if you just eat only meat, that's bad. So you don't just cut it all out, you cut some of it out and replace it with something else. There always needs to be a balance here. So like, oh, that relationship was toxic, I cut out that relationship, I'm done with that. Oh, but now I feel alone. Oh, well, let me introduce my relationship with myself, with spirit, with my essence, and then a better relationship can come along from a more healed perspective, because I've now started enforcing boundaries, right? So you don't learn how to shoot a gun, or you do, but the best place to learn how to shoot a gun isn't during war. You learn how to shoot a gun in the shooting range, where you're under controlled conditions, where you're in a healthy environment, right? we think that we need all these life lessons to learn, but we're not in a good environment, right? So taking that to the next level of this whole system that we're in, we don't need to come back to learn any more lessons. The lesson is realizing that we are in a toxic situation and we can remove ourselves from it. Because, like I mentioned, all of this trauma just begets karma, which just begets more trauma, right? You come down here to try and resolve some sort of traumatic incident, only to then form more trauma on top of it because you don't remember things. You don't actually have that accumulated knowledge of, oh wait, where am I? What am I doing here? What is this place? Yeah, you can feel certain things don't feel right, but you're still at the mercy of the system when you're in that unconscious state of mind. You still start acting from that programming until you become aware again. And I got lucky that I became more aware around my 20s. So I was able to stop more accumulation of karma. I've still done whatever, not necessarily the best things since then, right? So I've still accumulated some sort of negative or positive actions along the way since then, but it was at a much less degree than I would have if I was still in that unconscious state of mind that I was born into, right? We were born into these traumatic families, bloodlines. We accumulate the mother's own trauma and wounds when we're in the womb, and then the astrological numerological programming of these archonic demons that then bestow their traits and characteristics upon us. So all of that your spirit is fighting against, essentially, because that's your true self fighting against that false self, that false layer that has been overlaid onto you, and you believe you're this personality, this being, this person. So that really is the key, I think, to breaking the cycle, is realizing that it is a cycle, and the notion that you constantly have to prove yourself is a lack of self-worth, right? And I have this too. Something I always battle against, because it was a conditioning, a trauma thing I was born into. But once you realize that, whoa, okay, I see the pattern, I don't have to constantly prove to myself that I'm better than the pattern. I don't have to, yes, I can stop responding when it does happen. But putting myself in a toxic environment where that condition is, and my buttons are constantly pushed, is not a way of healing. I don't heal myself by being in a toxic relationship and the other person constantly belittles me and gets me to enforce my boundaries. Like, oh, look how tough I am. I stood up to that bully again, right? Yeah, the bully is there, but I don't need to constantly put myself in their environment, in their presence, to see if I'm strong enough to stand up to them. Same thing with this place. And if you believe that you're here to save others from this place or from their trauma, then you have have a lower sense of self-worth about them. So you don't believe that they are capable, which you're really projecting. You don't believe that they may be capable of realizing their own patterns, right? And ultimately, it would be their choice. Yes, of course, we all help. We all can serve as a catalyst for one another. But they have to make the choice, first of all, to want to become more aware. And this is, again, where I say that suffering really does serve us more than pleasure, because pleasure can take longer to realize that it's just temporarily alleviating suffering, right? And you have to really get that to the end of pleasure to realize, wow, that was actually really just suffering. So that more intense suffering While I don't agree that it's necessary for our learning, I agree that it's can serve as a catalyst for creating more awareness of what this place really is. Like, oh wow, there actually are all these things going on in the world. Oh wow, I experienced some of it myself. What is this place really about? You know, why is everyone so traumatized here? Why don't we see more examples of that pure love, or that all this soul evolution that supposedly has been happening with all these people learning their lessons? Well, where are they? Shouldn't we be like extremely evolved civilization by now? Of, you know, all the thousands, if not millions of years that we say human beings have been here. That's just, I guess, kind of including mainstream history. Who knows what's really been going on with our past lives or current lives, everything that's happening currently in time, right? But anyways, that's the point of this video, that we are constantly in these patterns designed to repeat them. But once you realize that it's just a repeating pattern, then your job is not to fight against the wave of that pattern, fight against the flow of the river, but rather to get out of the river and dry yourself off. Right? So that's just something I was thinking about, and I feel that applies completely to this place. So once you realize, okay, this place is toxic, this place actually only wants to keep me traumatized and in these patterns and manipulate me subconsciously, then you say, okay, I stop responding to it, I stop involving myself in those situations. I can preemptively see who is part of that pattern, who is trying to facilitate that, and who isn't, and then I can seek to put myself in a much more loving environment while I'm here to, you know, help heal those wounds as well, by simply being in that environment or in those people's energy. That then helps to fill my own holes, because I see what, you know, normal people reactions are like, and although I may not be comfortable with it at first, I realize, oh wait, that's a more normal behavior, more normal response in this situation. And then you can begin to imitate that. You actually will subconsciously begin to imitate that, because that's what happens when we're around people for long periods of time. We begin to assimilate to them. Right? So pick who you assimilate to, pick your environments better, because if you keep choosing to put yourself in that environment of constantly needing to prove yourself and see if you're better than these patterns, see if you've actually healed, you're just subconsciously accepting that you aren't healed, and again, you're re-emphasizing that low self-worth. Okay, hope that made sense. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and I really appreciate all of my subscribers. I really appreciate all of your guys' support and comments. You guys always come out and show big love, and it's just amazing to be able to speak to you guys and to see that I'm actually providing some sort of help and adding to your lives. So I really appreciate you guys. Keep subscribing if you haven't, sharing my videos. I appreciate everything you guys do. Keep commenting, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.